They weren't tourists. They weren't visiting just to have fun. We had people who were ready to wreak havoc. People died, and there clearly was a breakdown of communication, security. And don't forget, I agree with the Congressman, Nancy Pelosi is responsible for that stuff. So to have a commission like this to find out who was responsible, what went wrong, to make sure it never happens again, it should be a no-brainer. You have a lot of great people, independent people. I'll do it. How about Evan Bayh? How about Joe Lieberman? How about Olympia Snowe? How about General Petraeus? We'll go in and we'll find a way to figure out what happened. Because guess what? If it was a foreign country that came in and took over that quickly, then what? So we need to fix it. We need to fix it right away.
So your party's former presidential nominee, Mitt Romney, said that the former president, Trump, incited the Capitol insurrection. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said Trump is practically and morally responsible for what happened. You're a former senator and ambassador. Do you agree with them that Trump bears responsibility for the insurrection?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he bears responsibility. I think his presidency was diminished as a result of this, and I think he's paying a price. He's been impeached twice. He was impeached for those actions. A lot of the great things that he did, working on China, getting the vaccine out, developed right away, looking at what he did with Iran and Russia, and in the Indo-Pacific specifically, the amazing things he did during the Christchurch attacks in New Zealand. I mean, all those things are by the wayside now. That is why it's imperative to find out what role everybody played and figure out why, first of all. I can't believe I was back for 2 days on the job, and I see our Capitol. I thought it was either an action movie, a banana republic, some type of dictatorship. I was embarrassed, I was angry, and I want to make sure it never, ever, ever happens again, because we are the greatest country in the world, and we have amazing opportunities. And I lived in other parts of the world, and I visited there, and there's no place like this country. And yes, we have our faults, and we're addressing them, but we have a great social fabric of people who care deeply about who we are as Americans, and we got to fix this right away.
You said that the former president does bear some responsibility. You probably know this. He is still pushing the big lie from the election. Just yesterday, he called 2020 the crime of the century, alleging massive crime, and said the election was rigged and stolen. Do you want him to just stop?
Listen, I disagree with the president. Any problems, and I know this has been conveyed to him and his administration and all of his team. If there were concerns about the election, as the Supreme Court said with the Latches decision, you should have gone and figured it out before the election, not after the fact. I mean, as someone who's run 21 races, we always cross our T's and dot our I's. And if we have any issues about the security of a polling place, we make sure we have our people there to watch. And here's the solution to that, Dana. I think we should have everything televised, cable TV and rent them, and Ryan, New Hampshire. Yeah, have it all there so everyone can see, so there's no questions. You want to poll watchers? Great, have them come in. We should be proud in showcasing this type of transparency around the world, but there's a lack of trust right now between the general public, the media, corporations, banks, and government, and politicians in particular. And we have to find a way to find that common ground and fix it and stop relitigating the past and focus on how we're going to be moving forward.
A decade ago, you upended the balance of power here in Washington by turning Ted Kennedy's Senate seat in Massachusetts red. Now, many in your party, as I just talked about, starting at the top with the former president, keep pounding away, questioning the results of the presidential election falsely. And they are probably going to block this effort to have this commission. How worried are you about the state of the GOP?
Well, I believe we need to be a Big Tent party, like President Reagan said, and we can fight to the death if we have to. Obviously, I'm not serious, but we can fight tooth and nail like Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan did. They actually fought by day, but by night they grabbed a scotch, played some cards, and solved our country's problems. We are all Americans first. We're not just Democrats or Republicans. As you know, I was the most bipartisan senator, one of in the entire U.S. Senate. I'm a problem solver, and instead of fighting about masks and stupid stuff like that, how about looking at what China's doing, stealing our intellectual property, manipulating the currency, building and militarizing islands, changing the law of the sea and international law as we know it? How about what's happening in Iran and Israel with Hamas? There's so many things we need to figure out. Inflation, high cost of fuel, our debt and deficit, which when I was there was $9 trillion. What's it now, $30 trillion? How about focusing on the things that affect people's pocketbooks and wallets instead of the stupid stuff? I'm disgusted with politics, Dana, and Americans are too, and they want problem solvers in there. So I'm hopeful. I'm a glass half full guy, and we got to get it done.
You were one of the early supporters of President Trump during the 2016 primary. Would you vote for him again in 2024?
You know, the beauty of me right now is I live in New Hampshire, one of the first in the nation primary states. We've been there for, 10 years. We have a place there for 30 years. I'm going to have my backyard barbecue, the no BS backyard barbecues again. And as you know, we had 16, I think, out of the 20 or whatever candidates at my house, and we had people visit. I am an undecided independent, well, I'm a Republican, undecided voter right now, as many people are in New Hampshire, and we have an opportunity to meet everybody, and I look forward to